Tazama ilivyo.
Good morning, dear viewer. You are welcome. We are a bit late, but we're here. I'm grateful that you're joining us for the conversation this morning. On the Morning Scoop, we're talking about what's happening, the dilemma in colleges today, universities. Don'ts have downed tools. They're not like teachers who down chalks and rulers, but these ones will down a lot more than chalks and rulers. With the SECGEN UASU Kibabii branch in studio today to talk about this. On behalf of Kevin Kibet, I want to invite you to follow us, leave a comment on social media, WestTV_Kenya. We are on West TV, YouTube and Facebook West TV. Follow us and leave a message and a comment on our, as we continue with this conversation. You can also follow me on my X at Mr. Kitui, or on my Facebook page, or Wasimiti CKS. You're so welcome. My name is CKS. Let's go into the conversation. Lecturer, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine. When we were arranging to do this conversation, this show today, it was so good until yesterday evening I realized Kibabii is closed. So you're going to give us a bit of information on that, but then we begin with the your name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Robert Wanjala Nyukuri. I'm the Chapter Secretary of Universities Academic Staff Union, Kibabii University Chapter. Serving my second term, that is my 10th year in service of UASU. And more importantly, I'm also the senior lecturer of entomology, domiciled in the Faculty of Science, Department of Biological Sciences, Zoology wing of the division.
You did a paper on zoology. What's that? Those entomology, zoology?
Zoology is a broad study of animals. And entomology is a narrower wing of zoology that specializes in the study of insects, which are of medical importance, veterinary, and agriculture. Thank you.
Well, next time you come, we'll be talking about that so that we realize what insects around us can be of help to us. Today, let's go into the strike issues.
Yes.
We begin with the proverb. The proverb of the day is never compete with someone who has nothing to lose. What does that mean?
Never competing with somebody who has nothing to lose is you don't need to fight the innocent. Yeah, because at the end of the day you are at risk of losing more. As you know, these ones are on x-axis.
Yes.
They have already fallen, have nothing to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so right. On the conversation today, we're looking at there's a lot to do with broken promises. Today, what everyone knows now, we will have never known that these guys are owed about 7.9 billion, and it accrued or it accumulated collectively to reach 7.9 billion because of failed promises. So, Dr. let's begin. Why is this? Why is the union insisting that you guys need to receive full amount in one go?
The reason why we're insisting is infidelity of the government agencies. That's the Ministry of Education, the Treasury, the SRC, and the IPUCCF. That's the representatives of vice chancellors. When we had a strike last year, we had what we call return to work formula.
That's 2020.
2021, 2025.
No, the strike was 2024 last year.
Last year.
Okay.
That's 2024, but for the 2021, 2025. So basically, it was to honor that return to work formula, and it had a number of issues. The urgent ones were to implement the CBA, which they gave us 4.3B out of the 9.7. So the balance was to be divided into two. the financial year of 2025-2026 we were to give 2.73 B. So we expected this in good faith they shall be given. Then come the financial year, there was no communication, there was nothing. Then along the way you will hear rumors of 1 month arrears, 2 months. Yet the 2.73 was for 7.5 months because the arrears was for 2 financial years. Then also we were to jumpstart the CBA of 2025-2029 by January. But there was no communication, there was no goodwill. So we said the only language that the government can listen to is to invoke Article 37 of the Constitution.
Yes.
Which is now the strike, and this is where we are because of mistrust and lack of commitment from the government components. Segments.
So this money is basically your salaries?
This money is like the 2.73 was arrears. You know, the CB of 2021-2025 was effective from 1st of July 2023 to September of 2024 because 2021-2022 was frozen because of COVID. So they gave us, and we had arrears of 15 months. So that 2.73 was arrears, which was paid from 1st of July 2023 to around February of 2024. Yeah.
So for the benefit of the viewer, who pays the lecturers? Is it the university or the government? Or the government through the ministry to the universities?
Of course, we have one set of government and we have parastatals, which the university is part of it. And the government channels the personal emoluments, the payments for parastatals through the parent ministries. For this case, is the Ministry of Education, which comes to the university. Then it's processed for individual staff. Yes.
So why is the government? Because recently it offered to give you 2 installments, but you guys said no, you want it in one lump sum. Why is the government idea of first payment being rejected?
Because of mistrust. Because if they failed to honor up the return to work formula of last year, how will they honor up this? That's why when you look at the mantra of our strike in Kumalizana, it is now or never. Because we know we are also parents, we are guardians, even we have colleagues who are students, those doing PhDs. So we also don't want to frustrate this sector by having so many strikes. You know, this semester, all students have gone home. Parents paid accommodation, rent for the whole semester. They have done shopping for the whole semester, yet it has gone to the West. And you know, we also participate in those shoppings and those payment of rent. So we don't want to have another strike. The moment tunamalizana this time, it means for the next 4 or 5 years, you never hear of anything as strike in the higher sector. That's university education.
Because whatever you are asking for is going to cover you, right?
Yes.
But then the issue of the government saying that it's going to pay recently, had it paid or it was just promising that it's going to pay?
It had just promised, but it had not paid. Yeah.
So that promise is what agitated you guys.
And that's why we are hearing the word like we don't want to promise or not. Because we know the type of government we are dealing with.
There is the, what we call, the proceedings. You see, every time a CBA fails, as it assigned the CBA is not honored, don't you think it could be a problem for both sides, the government and you guys, or it's just the government that is always on the wrong?
From the separation of powers and also from the recognition agreements, it's our duty to have what we call the tripartite negotiations. The governments, the ministries, that is, the union, and also there's the Federation of Kenyan Employers. So ours is to negotiate, but since we don't have the money, it's the government that has the money that should now meet its bargain, its obligation as per the negotiations You know, negotiation is not forceful. It's friendly, give and take. We negotiate. We jointly sign. It's registered in the Employment and Labor Relations Court. Then it's now the ministry, which is the government, yet to implement.
And have you guys met the minister yourselves, or you? We
have met him severally, but those promissory notes saying, let's go back to work. In fact, you must have seen him on the media. Go back to work. We are working out. But if they fail to give 2.73B, how will they give now the 7.9 if we go back?
But you must be having a reason why you are insisting. Do you think the government has that kind of money right now, or you are assuming it has the money?
We are not assuming. We are over 150% sure. Recently, you saw like the president was in Kakamega. How much money did he dish out? He dished out 20B, just outrightly. And of course, we know how the government funds flow. So what is 7.9B to 20B, which is given instantly? And that is not once. We see daily the way money is spent. You know, what we want is actually just fairness. Now, from the principles and values of governance is fairness and social justice. Why should I give you 100K, then you deny others even 1,000?
You see, there is something strange called vote ahead. There is what was voted for the Minister of Health, Minister of Education. So maybe the ministry doesn't have money. So even if the president is spending the money, he's not spending the education money because the education money was depleted.
Yeah, and you know, budget formation is a long process. It's from sectors. The Ministry of Education, through this minister, they have to collect the budget from sectors, like the parastatals. Then one of the key issues that was to be factored in was the CPS. Now, if the minister cannot present that, then whose fault is that? Because it's executive to collect data in terms of monetary implications and process it to the budget. That's not, we don't work, or we don't sit on those budgetary committee formations.
Do you think the minister has refused, or the government has refused to pay you the money?
We strongly believe that the government has blandly refused to pay us. Because the government, you know by all standards, they can't release money. And even from the body language of even the ministers, you saw how these ministers, how much money do they spend in a day? We have, you know, what provokes us more is the public wastage of funds haphazardly. When we want empowerment through structured CBA, we are not listened to. That's now what annoys us most.
So when you get this money, you are promising that you're going back to work. But then the government decided to skip these arrears and start conversations around the current stalemate. It also means that there must be something they know, which maybe you also know and don't want to admit, or maybe they know and you don't know. Why can't you ask, what is it that is making them skip the payments?
If you have been following the chronology of these events, initially, government, through its agency, the SRC, said, we owe lecturers only 624 million. Then the union, through its CEO, Omwami Constantine Wasonga, said, you owe us 7.9 billion. That's 7.9B. The High Court, through its Central Planning Unit, they went and did calculations based on the university payrolls. They came up with the same figure of 7.9B. Then the government, through its agents of SRC, petitioned again to Court of Appeal. That was around 2023. Court of Appeal also sat down and perused and calculated. They got the same figure of 7.9B. They say refused. We went to Mombasa recently. Then we had an independent auditor. He also came up with the same figure of 7.9B. Now, they are saying we delayed, they were delaying to pay because they were not believing us. Yet, these people have human resources. Why should you, and in the spirit of honesty, which is a public service value, why should an officer cheat the government?
In your opinion, who bears the most responsibility?
Is the
government through the treasury, the ministry, or the university management?
It's actually the government. Actually, the government has, these are parents of so many children, and all of them carry the responsibility. Starting from the IPUCCF, where the vice chancellor sits.
Yes.
Go to SRC, go to the ministry, go to the, like a PS, for example. When she was presiding over a graduation, I think it was in Kisiwa here.
Kisiwa recently, yes.
And you realize that he said he has now confirmed, she has now confirmed that the balance that they owe us is 7.9 after almost 1 month. And remember, Mami, how much public wastage has gone to a parent who has paid fees, help has paid subsistence, you have paid accommodation for 1 semester, you have bought shopping, and we are depending on only one figure. And a ministry has very competent officers. If the PS was just to assign the officers to work out, it wouldn't take even 2 days. So, it took 1 month just to verify that figure.
Okay, now that we're talking about students, let's talk about students. We have two levels of this conversation on the student level. Number one, the losses students are going through. Number one, missed classes. The whole semester has gone down to drain. Who compensates that?
Ideally, if we were paid today, we could work out on the logistics of compensating our students, but without compromising the quality and standards of training. We have to, if we have lost, like now, this is the 7th week, we have to work out on how do we get that work time lost. And of course, we have even students in the Senate. The decision of university working mechanisms is done by the Senate, where we have to sit with the students, we have to sit with the management, we have to sit with the unions, and also the lecturers who are head of departments and the deans, and see which method can work out the best without compromising the quality and standards of training of our good students. Yeah.
Now, but Kibabii has closed.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? How did that decision reached, and what is the implication?
Why Kibabii has closed, but for your information, that's not the first university to close. Laikipia closed, Jomo Kenyatta closed, Karatina closed, Kibabii closed yesterday. So many are closing this week. The reason is this: why should you keep students paying rent, paying water, paying electricity, buying food, and doing nothing?
Okay.
And that is and these are so many students. No, that wastage is what we are protecting.
Then there is this strange idea of the government coming up with a funding model that is currently being implemented. Is that a contributing factor, or it's not? It's independent. It's not part of this conversation.
The funding model missed out on a number of components. Like you realize that Article 10 of the Constitution provides for public participation.
Yes.
Provides for inclusivity in decision making. Unfortunately, that was not well done. And you saw students going into the streets and even going to court, and it was suspended. So the funding model has had its own challenges. Though currently we have got 2 models in the universities.
Okay.
The 3rd year, 4th year are in the old model. Then the first and the second and in the new model. So there's that blend. But there is a lot of discontentment on the new funding model, where we had 5 bands.
Yes.
There is like a band one. There's one band that is very expensive. a student admitted to medical or engineering, you have to cough to almost 1 million. So meaning education technically has been privatized. And the poor will not access that social pool.
Because the amount associated is, number one, huge, and number two, it doesn't matter whether you come from a rich background or a poor background, but this amount of money is unbearable to the most of the students in colleges.
Yes. And you can see when the students were choosing courses to join in September, a chunk of it did not even attempt to apply. Reason was affordability of the programs.
So they tend to concentrate students in some courses and not others, because of the costs
implication. So like most programs, the students are not even applying because it's very expensive. Like the medical, like the engineering, and these are the programs that is like have wide opportunities on the job market. So, and training should be able to balance the enrollment with the opportunities.
Let's talk about, in your opinion, what should the government do? Should the National Assembly pass an emergency fund to remove this 7.9 billion story, or the government should just release the money from the kitty?
As we are speaking now, the national office is meeting the National Assembly Committee on Education and Higher Education and the Research. And one of the proposals is to look for money where the union may not say big here or there, but look for the money of two sets. One, 7.9B to offset the pending bill of 2017-2021.
Okay.
Two, look for other money for jumpstarting the CBA of 2025-2029. That has also stalled for this reason.
It's also at a strike in waiting.
The strike notice, Oman had 3 components. Item number 1 was to pay the 2.7B for the phase 2 of CBA 2021-2025. Item number 2 was to jumpstart the CBA 2025-2029. It was supposed to be implemented on 1st of July 2025. Today is Mwezi of Menamonja. We are already in arrears of 4 months.
And nothing is done yet.
Nothing has not been done. Then number 3 was now to pay the arrears of CBA 2017-2021, which is now the 7.9B. So there are 3 items.
So let's look at you, the lecturers.
Yes.
Because of the continued vicious cycle, today you strike, tomorrow you are given a few coins, and the following day you strike, like that. Is it encouraging you guys in your job positions, or is it discouraging? And is that making some of your colleagues leaving the public service to the private sector?
True, it's very, very discouraging. And a strike is not a party. A strike is socially, is economically, is emotionally draining. And even as we don't wish a strike to take off, we don't want a strike to even proceed for even a single day. I mentioned we are parents. I mentioned we are guardians. I mentioned we are also students. There are lecturers who are also doing PhDs, they are also studying.
Yes.
So this is something that we don't want, and we have reached here due to mistrust. Because if, like we had that 2021, if it was sorted out, it would not have been an issue on the strike notice. Like the recent one, 2021-2025, there was just a clear return to worker formula, but honoring it was an issue. That is why, and most of us you have mentioned, most lecturers, if you get somewhere with green pasture, what do you expect? And that's why ukiangalia what the National Secretary General is saying, this time around in Kumalizana, meaning we also fatigued, we are tired of going for these strikes. And we're also going to lose public trust. What was the now?
Of course, we are saying that you guys are greedy.
So greedy for what when we are debating about that? When we are signing a CBA, nobody comes with a bunduki and some man fanya tunaenda. We do it out of our own volition, out of our own will, out of our own intention for the betterment of the lecturers, and also, the cost of living is changing day in, day out.
Yes.
CPI, the consumer price index, is increasing. The cost of living is going up. So inflation in the yo-yo. The essence of our CPI is actually just to cushion us from that eroded purchasing power. It's not just for luxury or for aesthetics or just for the sake of it, no. It's out of those economic parameters that the lecturer should be compensated for.
And you see, current packages which you guys are being paid, how do they compare with the private sector and maybe the international job market?
Comparatively, like you will talk of private sector, those ones and internationally, we are low.
Okay.
We are very low.
That's why they are becoming destination for
exodus for job market.
Do you think that will now amount to brain drain? In the 90s, we had that issue where our doctors were going away because it was it didn't reach a national crisis, but it almost got there because our doctors were being absorbed by international institutions at the expense of the Kenyan healthcare industry. So could that be, are we staring at that in the near future?
And of course, not in near future, that brain drain has never stopped. As we speak, even there are colleagues and even people in the nursing sector, in the clinical medicine, in a pure medical area. They are going to US, they are going to UK. I think even now some that have done so. Personally, I know a number and I know you also know. Meaning people are, and what is now pushing us more to go even out in all sectors is this rampant mutilation of pay slips. You hear something called SHA. Very expensive. That is around 2.75 of the gross salary. That's a huge amount of money. Then you go to the hospital itself, is dysfunctional. There's something called the housing levy. That's around 1.5 of the gross. Where on earth has a tax been pegged on a gross? Then they give the guidelines of housing selling. Even the contributor does not qualify. Then recently you are hearing something called infrastructure fund, which most likely will be penetrated into. Because the card, of course, when it goes to the assembly, what happens? Within a minute will be passed. Because that's a commercial bench also. So at the end of the day, who will tolerate those punitive taxes?
So the taxes, the taxes are many.
So many.
They're eating a big chunk of your income. That is a fact, right? But then it means now the institutions, for example, Kibabii, university should now start thinking about expanding its cash streams, not just depending on the academics. Do you guys at UASU have any non-monetary initiatives that can be able to retain PhD holders and professors within the institutions and grow the shilling for the university away from the government funding?
One, the mandate of the university is teaching and research.
Yes.
The issue of income generating unit is just by the way. Education is a social good. We are not a profit-making entity, though we are also not a loss-making entity. And ideally, even constitutionally, 1% of the budget should go to research. Unfortunately, that's not the case in Kenya. There is no money allocated to research. So at the end of the day, we attract funds. And these funds, if you attract funds, they come with the restrictions and guidelines. This fund is for ABCD. You cannot say that now we generate money to pay salaries. No. Like, can you tell me, Omami, a school like your neighboring school here is Bongoma DAB. Tell the DAB to generate, to do its income, generate its income to pay its its teachers. So will teachers concentrate on that IGU or teaching?
That is food for thought.
Yeah.
But then there is the strain. We talked about you guys being fatigued. You see, I'm trying to imagine the mental fatigue you guys go through and you put students to. Is it worth it?
Actually, it's worth it. I'll give an example of like the strike of 1997 when the teachers went to strike for a long period and that budget was not honored. Then it was honored in the new regime of NAC. That was 2002 onwards. You remember the teachers who struck, most of them had already even exceeded through natural attrition, they had retired and so on. Who was the beneficiary? The beneficiary was the student who was in class and those who are in colleges. Now the reason why even students are supporting us, they are number one beneficiary of this strike. If these rates are enhanced, you know we can't be there for eternity. These students, they are the people who are coming to enjoy that package.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, so what message are you guys sending to students? Because they're at home, they're watching you guys play games, hide and seek with the government, and there must be something you are telling them.
The message is this: we are teaching them patriotism. Defend your rights. You know, our labor rights are enshrined in the Constitution, Article 41. Fair labor justice. Demand for your dignity. Demand for your decency. Demand for your rights. That's what we are teaching them. Don't be discriminated. Don't be abused.
Okay.
Not what we are having is more of labor abuse.
You having closed up to January, assuming by January this will be sorted. How is that currently going to be adjusted to accommodate the lost time and also take care of the next 2 semesters? As
I mentioned, one of the objectives of UASU is to protect quality training. We shall have to sit down in the spirit of public participation where we come up with a workable formula, but that does not compromise. You know, if we are going to finish the January we have proposed, that is like a semester, it will be wrong for us to say now we condense that semester into like 1 month or 2. We shall not allow that. Basically we shall have to translate and push forward.
So as you do that, you should be also thinking about other pressure measures to use away from the strike, so that you drive your message to the government to demand your remunerations and failed promises, other than going to the streets every other time.
A strike is actually a last resort, and as I mentioned, even us don't like going to the strike. So what we do, there is lobbying. We go under, you know, like in terms of union engagement, it's 70 or 90% lobbying, but 10% confrontational. So the moment you see us on the streets, it means all options. You know, there's what we call alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, which is provided even in the Labor and Employment Act. The issue of mediation, the issue of arbitration, the issue of negotiation, the issue of litigation. And when you see us on the streets, it means the mechanisms we have tried and failed. You know, we went to court. These guys have not honored it. Even you know, the moment we can register a CBA in Employment Relations Court, and you violate. So the only tested and proven strategy that most of the employer and most of the government listening to is actually the strike. It's one of the most effective methods of agitating for your rights?
I'm looking at the next cohort of students. The September intake this year, students were in class for a few weeks and the strike started. They have gone back home. So should this strike continue into 2026, it will definitely affect the next cohort of students. How prepared are you? Or you know what to do, you know your thing?
Well, as I said, this is the government's wish for this strike to proceed.
Okay.
That's one. It's not our wish. Then two, double index have been there. You remember when the 844, when the old system transited to 844,
yes,
we had two index.
Yes, I know.
When the current president, Mheshimiwa Ruto, was the Minister of Education in 2012, you know, initially you were to finish this year Form 4, then you join in 2027.
Yes.
But when he came, you saw that wastage. Then he condensed. In 2012, we had two double intakes. So what we are going into is now the third double intake, the one what you are envisaging.
Because this strike is definitely going to eat into the next semester.
Yeah. And if we reach there, I think there will be mechanisms when crossing that slippery bridge.
Yeah, it's very slippery. Okay, let's look at the resources that has the government ever come on the table with money, saying we have this money already. Okay, can you go back to work as we sort out the rest? Or if it did that today, it comes with let's say 2 billion or 3 billion or 5 billion. This is the money, go back to work, then we will be able to give you the rest of the money. Are you going to accept that?
So far, the government, through its minister, Honorable Ogamba, has not come on the table with the money. But even if he came with the money today, the money that is less than 7.9 B, we shall not accept. The reason, if we accept even if it's 7B minus 900 million, it means we shall go to strike again
to get the 900.
To the 900. Then why should we postpone the problem?
You are not postponing the strike this time round.
No.
You are not accepting to plan for another budget and another strike in the near future.
Oh, we are tired. Even the public is tired.
I am tired. Trust me.
Even us. Even, you know, we also found it's the way I teach.
Dr.
Yes,
let's end here. Let's end with this. You see, ultimately, students are suffering. What are they? Are they collateral damage, or they are part of the story?
Actually, they are suffering because, like when you go to even employment, the year of graduation has marks, by the way. So in unlikely events that this strike proceeds and compromises the date of graduation, it means that student will be out of employment for 1 or more years. You can see that damage. And as parents, we have sold property, we have sold land, we have sold the bulls, we have done a lot of pro forma in the form of fundraisings. Then at the end of the day, we are sacrificing the student. As dons, as parents, as guardians, it is very, very bitter. And that is why it's not our wish to be where we are. But I have said it's the wish of the government to be where we are.
So students are not collateral damage, they are a motivation. They are the reason why you are doing this.
They are not the reason per se, because at the end of the day, we are also the first line beneficiary, though they are also the second line, but they are also undergoing a lot of issues in terms of wastage.
Oh, let's end there. Our time is up. I'm looking at this strike going into a few more weeks and maybe into next year. And I think it's going to be very difficult. Can you do one last final word and just conclude for us?
This strike, we had 3 items, as I mentioned. The first one was to pay the second phase of CBA 2021-2025, which was 2.73 billion. That was paid. The second one is to start negotiating, sign, register and implement the CBA of 2025-2029 that has not even started. The government came with 3.1 billion for that CBA of 2025-2029. But remember, my brother, the CBA of 2013-2017 consumed 15 billion. The CBA of 2017-2021 consumed 16 billion. The CBA of 2021-2025 consumed 9.7 billion. Reason, it was only 2 years. 2 years was frozen for COVID. So if the government is coming with 3.1 for CBA of 2025-2029, this is a CBA that will not cost less than 20 billion. So as we speak, there is almost no likelihood of commencing the second agenda on the strike notice of 2025-2029, because the government is at a 3.1B, we are at 20. Then what has engulfed the media and the public consumption is the third item of arrears of 2017-2021. So ideally, we are tackling the third item. We have skipped the second, and after the third is when we shall start now working on the second. So you can see, as much as you gave it to January, this strike may proceed beyond that period.
You know, Daktari, I thought you were going to make my life easy. You've just ruined it. Let's end there. Thank you for watching us, and thank you for staying with us. As we end here, I just want to encourage you to share your thoughts on our social media, Facebook, West TV, on our YouTube, West TV Kenya, on our X, West TV_Kenya. You can always follow me on my X at Mr. Kitui, and on my Facebook page, Ohasimiti CKS. On behalf of Kelvin Kibet, who is directing this show, this is CKS. See you next week on Tuesday.